justice for us all. Which side are you on, friend? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
All right, that is from the protesters at St. Louis Symphony Orchestra Saturday night. Not the type of music you expect when you go to Powell Symphony Hall. To talk about what exactly happened, friend in this show, Erika Ebsworth-Goold. Erika, you are a publicist with the St. Louis Symphony. Thanks for joining us.
No problem, McGraw. Thanks for having me.
Did you guys know or get tipped off that these protesters were going to join the house on Saturday?
No, it was a complete surprise and quite unexpected. I was actually backstage when all of this happened, and I can tell you that the chorus was out on the stage, the orchestra was out on the stage, our guest conductor and soloist had just taken the stage. We were about to go into the Brahms Requiem when the protesters stood up and started to sing.
What was the reaction of the crowd?
Well, I think that everybody was sort of taken aback. At first, there was some confusion because we did have the chorus on the stage. We heard some singing begin, and it was sort of like, okay, well, where's this coming from? When the banners were unfurled, people realized what was going on.
And this was Erika. This is Kelly, by the way. Hey,
Kelly,
Hi.
How are you?
Fine. This was after intermission, right?
Correct, and that's something that I really would like to point out, and a really important point in my mind. This was after intermission, so the first part of the concert had concluded. We took a 20-minute intermission, and we were about to begin the Brahms Requiem when this happened. This was not a concert interruption. This was a concert delay. And I think that speaks to the fact that the protesters didn't want to interrupt what we were getting ready to do. We were getting ready to perform a beautiful piece of music, and they did not interfere with that.
How many protesters were there?
I've heard about 50, and that's anecdotal because I wasn't in the hall at the time. I was backstage.
Right.
But I've heard about 50 protesters, and they were all ticketed, too, I might add.
Yeah, the Powell Symphony Hall is known for doing things very originally, so I could certainly see why some people would think that that was part of the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Initially, yes. It became very apparent very quickly that it wasn't.
Right.
I can tell you that the orchestra and the chorus and our guest conductor, Marcus Stentz, sort of took in what was going on. The protesters did their thing. They sang. They said what they needed to say. And then they peacefully and quietly left the hall. And that's another point, too. I really wish that they would have stayed. The Brahms Requiem is a beautiful piece of music. Traditionally, requiems were written to console people in times of loss and sorrow. And, you both know that at the Symphony, we believe in the power of music, and that includes the healing power of music. So I think that it would have been really cathartic for them to stay, and it's a shame that they didn't.
I want you to expand on that for a little bit, because I saw you say that same thing on Channel 5 last night, and I thought it was so poignant and such a beautiful point. Explain to people, including me, what you mean by that, because I know I've heard Brahms Requiem, and I know I missed it on the test in music appreciation class. So explain what you mean by that.
You know what? Here's the thing, McGraw, and we can all connect with this. All of us have a piece of music, if it's a song, if it's a piece of classical music, that takes us out of where we are. It lifts you up. It makes you feel better. That's the power that music has across every genre. It's especially more poignant with classical music because a lot of classical music that was written to specifically console people after the death of a loved one or after a catastrophic loss. And look, our community is hurting right now. I don't think that there's any question about that. And I think that perhaps these protesters, and they left before I could speak with them, so I don't know. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn. But perhaps these protesters picked that night and that requiem to make their point. But we all know about the power of music and the healing power of music. And something else I'd like to add, too, Powell Hall is for everybody. It's for St. Louis. Our music is for everybody. And so I hope that maybe we can take that out of this as well.
Any applause from audience?
There was applause from the audience. Yes, there was.
Any boos from the audience?
I don't know. There may have been a handful of boos, but I think there was much more applause.
Seemed like the audio or the video seemed like some people stood up. Did people stand up, or were those just the protesters standing up?
I think that there were some people who were giving the protesters standing ovation.
Yeah.
Again, I wasn't in the hall. I just had to take it from the video that I saw, just like you did. But it was a very dramatic scene, a very poignant scene. And, again, I'd like to say the protesters were respectful of the fact that the orchestra was getting ready to play. They didn't interrupt the Requiem. We're grateful for that. We certainly appreciate that. And again, we really wish they would have stayed to listen to that beautiful piece of music.
We're talking to Erika Ebsworth-Goold. She's the publicist for St. Louis Symphony. What's coming up on the docket for the Symphony?
This coming weekend, it's all Tchaikovsky. It's going to be a fantastic program, including the 1812 Overture. And something really cool, too, it's David Roberts and our music director's 10th anniversary with us. To celebrate, he's decided to turn the spotlight on St. Louis Symphony musicians. And to that point, we have 50 of them soloing with us, and 2 of them will be soloing this weekend. So all Tchaikovsky is going to be an amazing program.
Tchaikovsky. Interesting. That really...
You all know the 1812 Overture. It's the one with the cannons.
I know the 1812 Overture. I couldn't have told you that Tchaikovsky did it, though. I feel like Ray...
now you know.
I feel like Ray. I feel like Radar O'Reilly. Bach. Yes, Bach.
You guys have any other questions for me?
Erika Ebsworth-Goold, publicist, St. Louis Symphony. We need to get you on more than this, so we'll get you on in the future to talk more about what's coming up with the symphony as well. Thanks.
You guys know where to find me.
Thank you, Erika. Have a good day.
Thanks, Erika.
Thank you. You too as well.
You got it. Erika Ebsworth-Goold here on the Big 550 KTRS. Tchaikovsky. Can you tell me it's something else?
Love him.
Can you tell me anything else Tchaikovsky's done?
Not at all.
I took a music appreciation class in college. And this was before you could download the songs, and they made you that you had to go to the listening room to listen to the songs, and then as part of the test, you had to then determine what was the first movement and the second movement and the third movement of these. So I didn't do very well.
I was going to say, how well did you do on
No,
that?
I did terrible. But there were so many great songs that I wish I would have written down and saved because they were so good. But it was almost like, hey, this is a catchy tune. Who sings it? Who sings this song? It's like, I don't remember. I don't know. But
it's easy to dance to.
And then I lost the textbook. So there were so many great classical music songs that I loved.
I played flute in band and orchestra, so I do have an appreciation for the classics.
Tchaikovsky.
But Tchaikovsky, I can't tell you.
You didn't flute Tchaikovsky, did you?
No.